So it's one of the most important things for location independence is to be very clear on what it is you want. And there's a couple kind of myths I want to go over that I think hold a lot of people back and make them think that this lifestyle is a lot harder to achieve than it actually is. And so the first is the correlation between like wealth or money and location independence. I'm willing to bet if you took 100 people who were living kind of the location independent lifestyle and took their income and net worth and 100 normal people, they'd probably be about equal, or you wouldn't find big differences. Location independence is a lifestyle and kind of a strategy you choose to live. It doesn't require you to be wealthy. Of course, if you're wealthy, you can do whatever you want if you have $1 billion in the bank, but you don't have to do that. And that's something that held me back probably my first 3 years, where I thought I needed to build a company and sell it for millions before I could actually start living and enjoying life. And so it was this weird thing of like chasing money so I can live the life I want. And then at some point, a friend pointed out to me that I could just start living the life I wanted while trying to make the wealth. So just switching that order around. And then what else here? So passive income, I heard that mentioned a couple times. People hear like what their goals are, and passive income is obviously wonderful, but it's not a requirement for location independence. And in fact, I'm going to speak to that a little bit later on, that if you're just starting out, I actually don't recommend starting with passive income if you're keen to start traveling sooner rather than later. And then the last couple points, location independence, it's not a life purpose, it's not a business model either. So sometimes people like say, okay, I want to be location independent. How do I make money? What do I do? Like, tell me everything. And to me, it's more of a lifestyle choice that complements your existing life purpose, your goals, your business, whatever that is. Same way you can have two accountants, one who's super healthy and one who eats cheesecake for dinner every night. One has a healthy lifestyle, one has an unhealthy lifestyle. They're both accountants. To me, location independence is just a lifestyle that complements whatever you do for income. So I will speak to income sources and ways that you can fund this, but it isn't a magic bullet sort of do-all. I don't really support the aspect of like travel the world by teaching other people how to travel the world, or be a travel blogger so you can travel, but if everyone's a travel blogger, who's going to read them, kind of thing. So I think whatever you're passionate about and want to do for income, you can set up to do location independently. And then the last point is just about age. I know a few people mentioned that. And for me, what I found, I have a coaching practice, and I found about half my clients are in kind of the later years, and they're looking at making the most of life. And like some of my clients are in their 60s. And then a lot are kind of in their 20s and saying, okay, I want to make the most of life before I get stuck with some kids or whatever else happens. So it really is for everyone. It's about just making the most of your life. So touched on that point here. So what I've done, I've put together a framework for lifestyle design and location independence. And this will apply to probably 95% of people. Of the 5 areas of your life you need to be looking at if you want to be location independent. And the only thing to note for it, there's not a sequential order per se. At all times you want to give energy to all these different areas. But the first two, mindset and money, are usually what we need to get in line before you can be location independent. The rest you can do from the beach. Not actually, because you'll get sand in your laptop, but from wherever, right? So things like marketing and mastery being like productivity and personal growth, those aspects you can work on once you're traveling, and they're the aspects that will allow you to keep traveling. So you're staying productive, you're continuing to grow your business, and you never really have to come home. The first two, mindset and money, are what's going to allow you to initially take off and get started. So the freedom zone is, for me, it's a personal target of how I try to live and where I want to kind of be spending my time, if you will. And if it resonates with you, it may be something to strive for. It's basically the combination of geographic freedom with emotional freedom. So not being addicted to your phone, not checking email 20 times a day, not being worried if a client fires you, that you're stressing and ruining your weekend over that. So it's the combination of the geographic and financial freedom, but also the emotional freedom to actually enjoy that. You don't want to be stressing out in Spain because they don't understand what stress is there. Actually, they do recently, but...
Can you go back again? I just want
Here?
just the one before that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Are these slides going to be available?
I think there's going to be a video available.
No.
No?
You will put your slides in the meetup section, in the comment section.
Yeah, I can do that. Yeah. And also, I have a 15-part email course. It's totally free. I'll collect business cards after, or you can email me, and I can sign you up. And it includes a lot of this in essay kind of form. Like each day is about 1,000 words that breaks down a lot of this stuff. So it's there as well. So what I've found, both for myself and with people that I've worked with as a coach, is that mindset is the biggest hindrance to location independence. Like everything else is pretty easy and there's a solution for. If you live in Vancouver right now, who's fully homeless right now? If you are, actually don't put your hand up. Oh, really? Okay. Okay, that's fair. So if you live in Vancouver or in any way can survive in Vancouver, you can pretty much make it in 80% of the world in terms of cost of living. Like you haven't picked a cheap place, or a sunny place for that matter, to live. And so, just kind of simple logic, if you're surviving here and you can pay the rent and eat, there's a lot of places in the world you can as well. And with my approach, your goal is to cut your fixed expenses to zero. So I have no bills based in Canada except for business stuff. And so wherever I am, that's my only cost of living. You can sublet your apartment, use Airbnb, things like that. And so mindset is going to be the hindrance that holds a lot of people back, kind of fear or belief that you can't do this, whereas the technical stuff is pretty easy. There's solutions to all of it. So just a few positive mindsets. Big thing is to think in terms of value. So break that employee mindset of thinking like you need to be with someone to get paid or you need to work by the hour to get paid. It's all about the value you're providing, right? However you're supporting someone, whether they're a customer or client, that's why you're getting paid. It's not for your hours or your presence. And then do your best to surround yourself with other people who are either living or striving for this lifestyle. One of the things that surprised me is a few of my first clients, one of the reasons they hired me, they told me, is they didn't know anyone who wanted this lifestyle or was living this lifestyle. So it was this crazy different world to them almost to always be traveling, and it's harder to overcome fear if you don't know other people who are doing this. So try to surround yourself with peers and people who will support you in doing this rather than tell you why you can't do it. And then just a good sense of urgency. That's probably the biggest trait I've noticed in the people I've worked with who've been successful versus who haven't, in terms of one person I worked with in September, we started talking, and his goal was always to live in Paris. And he's like, 2015, I kind of have a business plan, I'm working on it, and he's in Paris now. Because after a few months, it was just build that sense of urgency. There's nothing, no reason to wait, just bought a ticket and went. Emailed me one day, okay, I'm going to Paris, a year before I thought I would. And that's really what it's about, is just not putting off life for the future, just go after it now.